Better you die falling dead towards the goal line. I don't give a fuck. Because I wouldn't piss on your face if it were on fire. Literally, I wouldn't piss on your face if it were on fire. In fact, I'd throw a little gasoline on it. And we just had a guy from intensive care. His kidneys shut down. His liver shut down because of stress. He almost died doing the deal. You already know your mistakes. Or if your sibling, you're dark complected, and your sibling's got red hair and blue eyes. It sounds like the milkman to me. And it's tough to have red hair and blue eyes in the Middle East. It's tough. I've seen some blue-eyed ones, but not red-haired. Okay, it's tough. And if you're in China, it's almost impossible. In fact, I've never seen a blue-eyed Chinese person ever. Huh? Oh, albino, yeah, but a real live Chinese guy or gal. But so now you're warming up the banks, and all you want the banks to say is but the first question, are you currently in the lending mode for whatever area you're in? Because sometimes, and by the way, they may turn your deal down, not because they don't like you or your deal or your dream team, but you're part of a risk-adjusted portfolio. Let's say they lent out $2 billion to healthcare, $500 million to assisted living, and they just wrote off $275 million in assisted living. A deal cratered, defaulted. Well then, I don't care how good your fucking deal is, they're probably not gonna wanna do it because they have to risk adjust. You're just one little thing in their portfolio. But you'll write back in your report, yeah, I can almost see the tears on your fucking report because you've never been held accountable. You steer away from rejection. A turtle. When we went to Galapagos Islands and we saw the big turtles, like this, big fucking things, turtles, A turtle cannot move forward unless it puts its legs out of the shell and its head out. When is it most vulnerable? When it stucks its fucking legs out and its head out. Does everybody understand that? So you're trying to move as a turtle without sticking your limbs out, and you can't. And your great-grandfather that had made $1 million 100 years ago stuck his head out once too much, got it lopped off, and nobody's made an investment since. Nobody's made an investment since. We have horror stories. I've heard some, the information you give me is confidential. I've been offered lots of money. The documentaries and the movie and the shit that I've got on the boil right now, I said I can't give confidential information away unless we go to you and you're going to be part of the documentary and you agree. I would never do that. And some of this information I have is 25 years old, and the guy's dead, but I'd go back to the family. But I've got horror stories unbelievable horror stories about fucking shit up. Family secret, Normally the family secret, he was a transvestite, cross-dresser, blah, 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 hatchet and murder. No, the secrets they really want to hide is all the money they lost on ignorant things. And there's no fool like an old fool, as my mother told me when I was young. And she was talking about old guys hooking up with a young girl. That's what she was talking about. Better you die falling dead towards the goal line. I don't give a fuck, because I wouldn't piss on your face if it were on fire. Literally, I wouldn't piss on your face if it were on fire. In fact, I'd throw a little gasoline on it. And we just had a guy from intensive care. His kidneys shut down. His liver shut down because of stress. He almost died doing the deal. And there's still today, there's no fool like an old fool. Okay. When you're at the airport, or you're where I like is when you're at the private airport with the private planes, and you see some guy older than me with a 20-year-old, and it's not his daughter, and it's not his niece. There's no fool like an old fool. But getting back to, so you've asked them the lending parameters, 3 to 5. You can buy any industry almost, except for cybersecurity and a couple IT things, 3 to 6 times cash flow, 3 to 6. And when you go to the seller, the motivated seller, and have you ever thought about selling your business? Yeah, for the right number, you go through the bullshit, and then you want to get it right out on the table. What kind of number are we talking about? And he says, well, I'd like 8 times cash flow, or whatever the number equates to 8 times. Well, the market today is 3 to 7 times cash flow. Well, maybe under the right circumstances, the right terms, I could live with 7 times. He locks in on the 7, you lock in on the 3, but you get him correct. It's not even negotiating. Due diligence is when you examine the assets you're going to purchase. I'd love to go into your bridge company. I'd have a fucking field day. I think that all my Christmases came at once. Due diligence is a euphemism for knocking the price down. Due diligence is a euphemism for knocking the price down. I've only one time in 50 years seen the price go up after due diligence. One time in 50 years. Because they lie, cheat, steal, not on purpose, but most people live out of their companies. They pay all the personal expenses out of the company. Well, you're not paying for that when you buy the piece of shit. So they're asking $25 million. By the time you get done with due diligence, it may be 20 million, 17 million, 22 million. Their mistress, their this, their that, all this other bullshit, their vacations. That doesn't come out of the business. Those are add backs. Add backs mean the price goes down. And only one time in almost 50 years have I seen the price go up after due diligence. And it just happened in the last 6 months. And I've seen the price cut in half. Minimum price goes down 5, 10, 15%. And then they say, well, I'm not willing to sell. Okay, fine. Adios, motherfucker. Don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out. Now, how do you say that in Arabic? Don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out.
No.
Better you die falling dead towards the goal line. I don't give a fuck, because I wouldn't piss on your face if it were on fire. Literally, I wouldn't piss on your face if it were on fire. In fact, I'd throw a little gasoline on. And we just had a guy from intensive care. His kidneys shut down, his liver shut down because of stress. He almost died doing the deal.
We say it in a nice way, like, may God be with you, but you'd be dead before you reach this.
Oh, okay. Can't you say, don't let the door hit you in the ass?
Yes, we can.
How? Yeah. Okay. Well, don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out. And they will be stunned. And 95% of all business brokers are whores. Maybe 99. But we're going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say only 95. Because the business broker gets paid supposedly by the seller. So he may have signed a document for the seller to sell my business for $3 million. And he's asking you for $5 million. And he doesn't allow you to see the seller. And he's getting between 5 and 10% of every dollar that he sells it for. So if he can sell it for $1 or $2 million more, and any business broker brochure that you see with financials is bullshit. You might as well wipe your ass with it. Now, if Goldman Sachs is selling the business, that's something different. But there's intergalactic truth, there's international truth, then there's our truth. And Goldman Sachs and all the big investment banks operate on not intergalactic truth, but international truth. But there's another truth below or beyond the Goldman Sachs or big investment bank truth. But you're not going to be dealing with investment banks in the beginning. You're going to be dealing with regular banks, commercial banks, and sellers finance. So now you've warmed up the banks. You know there's 4 banks that will sell or they will fund loans 3 to 6 times cash flow. So you're running back to the motivated sellers, and now you engage in more discourse, intellectual discourse about the purchase price. And now some of the people that you're going to buy your first deal will literally be keeping their receipts in a cigar box, literally. I do not recommend that's your first acquisition because it takes too much time, too much due diligence to find out that maybe the company's not worth buying. And when you ask for 3 years tax returns, 3 years financials, and if the tax returns and the financials aren't within 10% of each other, next. And it's hard to say next because now you've got time invested and you've got the clock running for me, and I'm gonna drop the hammer on it. And believe me, I do drop the hammer. When I tell you got 30 days to do such and such, I'm not bullshit. I don't care if you're gonna close a deal on the 31st day. I will put a bullet in your fucking ass quicker than I took a shit this morning. I don't care. When you look at that time scale, that is Moses in the tablets. I don't care. I don't care if your mother is dying of cancer. I don't care if you're dying of cancer. You get it done or you don't, because I now know you can get it down. These kids are making tens of millions in days. Now I know you're a stupid group, but I say that to all groups. But I know what you're capable of. If, like that guy going across the field, remember the guy in the crawl? That was Josh. But his family kept him accountable all his miserable life. He didn't know anything but excellence. And unfortunately, most of us weren't held accountable. So now you've got your dream team. You've got your extended dream team, which are your accountants and your lawyers. You've warmed up banks. You know the lending parameter. We're going to go over this over and over again. We've got your lending parameters, and now you got your meathead motivated sellers that you're going to try to get them to do 100% owner finance. And remember, the portion of the sellers is called equity when you talk to the banks, and then it's a numbers game. Remember, the funnels. You just keep cranking through them, and you will find people. A third of you in the next 4 weeks are going to come down with pneumonia, stress, in the hospital. It's a guarantee. Within the first 3 months, one of you will almost die. Somebody's going to have a heart attack in here. Young guy, because you've never been put under stress like you're going to be put if you're successful in this program. Better you die falling dead towards the goal line. I don't give a fuck. Because I wouldn't piss on your face if it were on fire. Literally, I wouldn't piss on your face if it were on fire. In fact, I'd throw a little gasoline on. And we just had a guy from intensive care. His kidneys shut down. His liver shut down because of stress. He almost died doing the deal. And this is a tough fucker. Active duty Navy. Bomb disposal. Fat Chop's back there. You'll probably die. Some people rather be dead than poor. Well, we're gonna find out quick enough. Quick enough. We're gonna test old Jarhead back there. I love beating Marines. I love beating anybody, really. But there's a few others that I love beating a little more. I love beating priests. My favorite is beating priests. Then comes second, probably Marines. But, I mean, I know what you're capable of, guys. And the two gals, I know what you're capable of. And when you hear the French bitch, I hope you're listening. I knew there was a glint in her eye of ruthlessness. I just knew it, and I was right. But you can be fair but firm. Most of you, because you are pleasers, you don't know how to be firm. You don't know how to be firm. And when you tell the sellers, you don't do it like I do. Go fuck yourself. Are you crazy? What are you smoking? What do you smoke? Give me some of that shit, whatever it is. If it's not addictive, give me some so I can get high like you are. What do you mean 12 times cash? What are you smoking? Who fucked you in the ass last night? I mean, what are you talking about? Now, I know you won't do that. Even though you can get away with it, you won't do it. I guarantee nobody in this room is going to do that. Although it's fun when you do it. Or as Sally would say, it's fun with a Yorkshire accent. Remember, we were all cavemen once. A couple of you, it's hard for me to believe that you came from a caveman. But anyway, we were all cavemen once. Steve Jobs says, take what you want. Leave no prisoners. God rest his soul. And there's two things the real rich guys, myself included, do. I don't try to paint my legacy. I don't give a fuck. My legacy stands for, for the people I produce that have made a lot of money. You get tight with God, just in case there is one, and you should try to buy your way to heaven. Steve was a classic, Jobs was a classic example. He didn't know if Buddha from fucking Allah from the mailman until he got cancer. And they all get tight, just in case there is one. Want to cover our bases. Got a lot of pictures of nuns and priests on this wall for a reason. Who's my 5:30? 6:30. Oh, gals, two gals. Ooh, make me nervous. Remember, from Dream Team. Okay, and tomorrow we're going to take up the parameters, 3 to 5 times cash flow, motivated seller, and the biggest mistake, and you're going to hear the rest of the week from the guys that you're going to hear on the webinar, is that they spent too much time trying to convince. It's not for you to convince the seller. It's the seller to convince you. It's the seller to convince you. You know how when you go down the street, and they got hookers on the street, in Detroit or different places in the world? Prostitution's legal in Australia.
Not legal, but...
It's tolerated.
Yeah.
Okay, there's hookers, you see short skirts, hookers on the streets, right? And you drive by slow. I'm sure none of you guys ever drive by slow and, hey, boy, you want to have a good time tonight? You don't stop for the first hooker that says, hey, boy, you want to have a good time tonight? Now, some of our guys from the Middle East probably do. But anyway, anybody, sticking your dick in anything is better than nothing. Okay, so, you probably do. But you're going to pass by a lot of 5-pound hookers, a lot of 5-euro hookers, okay? Some are going to be motivated more than others. Motivated seller is the most important thing. All the rest is bullshit. I can show you a way to finance anything if the seller's motivated. If the seller's not motivated, you're pissing in the wind. You're pissing in the wind. Okay, tonight we have dinner in the castle. Any questions? I read through I fell asleep reading your homework. I'm honest about it. I don't know why. Sally says, well, why do you take it up to your bedroom and lie on the bed and read? Well, I want to see if I can make it through without falling asleep. So I only read about 2/3 of them, so I'm going to read the other third tonight. But I have these papers on me, I can just, and I read it and I say, what was the sentence that put me to sleep? And so I pick up this, and then, some of you handwritten, that's fine. I struggle through it. But most of you, even the guys that English is a primary language, can't write. So I can, and I give the guys that English is your second or third language benefit of the doubt. But you wouldn't know a dangling participle if it bit you in the balls, guys. You would not know a split infinitive if you bit you in the tits, girls. When I was in school, they taught sentence structuring, which they don't teach anymore. But you basically, even the brightest ones in the room, the best educated, write like you're illiterate. And the illiterate ones in the room write like Neanderthals.